Hey, everybody. First things first. Can you hear me? I know I can see me. Can you hear me? Can I get a 5x5 in chat? And you're feeding me back audio. You're feeding me the audio from the stream in Discord. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was one of my other things. Anyway, we are here and we are going to watch SpaceX launch some more Starlink satellites. It's been a minute since we've had some Starlink satellites go up. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for these things. The launches just don't seem to be as exciting if we don't have a Starlink mission every week. So I'm excited for that to come back. Not only that, but we have another launch from Vandenberg. This will be the second one this year. We haven't seen a lot happen from Vandenberg in the last, almost 2 years? I mean, it's been quite a while since we've had very much going on at Vandenberg. I think there's been a couple here and there peppered in. And Vandenberg doesn't get a very heavy launch schedule, but we have one coming up. We've got a few other Starlink launches coming from Vandenberg. We also have some other things coming up later in the year from Vandenberg. So it'll be fun and exciting to see launch operations return to the West Coast in the United States. The only one we've had so far this year was 2 weeks ago or so when we did Firefly. So it's very exciting to me to have that happening and going on. We have approximately 19 minutes until SpaceX go live. And we will go from there. So normally when we have a Starlink launch, we have about 60 satellites on board. Today we're going up a little bit light with about 51. And they are version 1.5. So the main difference being, I'm sure they've upgraded some other things as well, but the main difference being they have space lasers and they will be able to communicate satellite to satellite in order to provide faster service times, especially in more remote areas. And SpaceX started their pre-roll. So yeah, we have 51 going up with the space lasers, and this will allow a lot of cross communication. So instead of a signal going up to a satellite and then having to go down to a ground station, it can stay up and go satellite to satellite and come down at a ground station closer to its final destination, and therefore speed things up. Yes, it did. And you have my chroma on as well. So, yeah. So it's projected that even just like New York to London speeds will be just a little bit faster than they are currently through fiber optic running across the uh, Atlantic Ocean floor. And this will make, of course, the financial sector a little bit happier once they get everything up and running and switch over to this. In the financial sector, a millisecond here and a millisecond there can mean millions and millions of dollars in profit or loss. So I'm sure they're very excited. Do we know if SpaceX plans on miniaturizing the satellite dishes to put into phones, or even if it's possible to connect to the satellites with such small dishes? I do not know if they have plans to go that small. A phased array antenna has to be flat and kind of pointed perpendicular to the satellite. So if the satellite's up here, the dish has to be kind of at an angle pointed at it in order to work properly. So it would be kind of hard to put it in a phone. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it would be a little bit of a challenge. I know the McDishy 2.0 is supposed to be having a launch sometime here soon, and it's rumored to be about a third the size of the current dish, so it's quite a bit smaller. And that one super popular, really crappy product called Apple, they claim that they've figured out a way to do satellite internet built into their phones. I don't know if that specifically refers to Starlink or any of the other satellite internet that's up there. But they couldn't pay me enough to use their product anyway, so I don't care. I'm a bit salty towards Apple. And SpaceX has started their video pre-roll. So we will be getting a feed up for you to watch in just a second here. So I guess the new Apple iPhone will be working with a different satellite internet provider, rather than Starlink. So the different constellations, the different brands of satellite internet work in slightly different ways. Starlink uses a phased array, and some of the others use other types of antennas and different frequency bandwidths. Man, there we go. Here's a feed for you. It looks a little bit foggy out there on Vandenberg. Yeah, like I was saying, Brett, the different satellites will use different types of frequencies, which each frequency range needs a different style of antenna and different amounts of power and has different capabilities. So GPS uses almost no bandwidth, and it just has to read a signal and know what time it is. We actually have a rather interesting interview on our channel where we interviewed. Oh crap! I just woke up, so I can't remember the name. Richard Easton. And he wrote a book about the history of GPS called GPS Declassified. And we talk for 40 minutes or so about all the different things relative to how GPS works. So if you're interested in a little bit more of a dive into that, so you're welcome. Oh, there we go. And there we have, of course, I Still Love You, just for a second there on screen. Yeah, Right to Repair is a whole different ball of wax. I pay a little bit of attention to it because I'm not really in the repair industry. But I love seeing that Right to Repair is getting more and more traction, even if it's not so much with the politicians as it is with everyday people like myself. There's some great channels out there that cover a lot of information on Right to Repair. And it just amazes me how many businesses out there in an age where taking care of our environment and climate change being such an everyday issue, we still have companies that are pushing this use it till you have to change the oil in your tractor and then scrap it mentality, like John Deere. It's just ludicrous that we have companies doing this kind of baloney, and we definitely need to do something about it. If that's your thing, there are plenty of channels out there that sit and talk about it. I watch a little bit of Louis Rossmann, and he focuses a little bit on that, and he gets pretty random as well. But I'm sure if you follow Right to Repair at all, you could probably also recommend a few other channels. There's quite a few out there. So yeah, if you have questions and you'd like to throw it up in chat, we will do our best to answer it. I have a whole team in the back room chatting in my ears to throw me information in case it's something that I don't know off the top of my head. And so we will do our best to answer any questions. If you like what we're doing here at Total Space and would like to support us, we do have Patreon set up, and I think we are working on setting up Buy Me a Coffee and some things like that. Maybe we haven't really quite finalized any decisions there, but we may be setting some of those things up as well. So let us know in the comments if that would be more appealing to you than Patreon, and that will help us make a more informed decision about our audience. But yeah, if you're interested in Patreon, it's patreon.com/totalspace. We also have a website, totalspace.net, where you can find a lot of information, including how to get a hold of us if you have a suggestion for an episode or whatnot. Patreon members gain access to our Discord, which affords a few different things. You can sit and chat with us. We're fairly active in our Discord. We don't have a million people there, but we are fairly active. Most channels get used on a daily basis. You can talk to us while we're working on episodes, whether that's writing or editing. You can join us when we do interviews and listen in, as well as throw your questions at us for the guests that we are interviewing, and a host of other little things like that. We also have some things that we're working on that we didn't promise our Patreons, but they're getting a special little surprise coming up here, and that's about all I'm going to say about it. But we did get a few extras, so even if you sign up now for Patreon, you will still get one of these little surprises. So that should be Should be interesting. And we appreciate any support that you can throw at us. There's some beautiful satellites. I just love seeing that. Just a stack of satellites. That is so amazing to me. Here, let's put 50 of these mother suckers in here. Oh, man. Yeah, yeah. One of the guys on the backside of the team is reminding me how he just loves the fact that the whole thing is just held inside to the onto the bus with just a single pin, and then that pops loose, and the satellites just start drifting, and they're built to like bounce off of each other and ping around a little bit until they get spread out enough to like actually start maneuvering and positioning themselves, which takes quite a bit of time for them to uh, reach orbit their final orbits and positions. They've got to be the right distance away from each other and in the right orbit and things. Ooh, that's kind of freaking out. Let's see. Okay, that should be a little better. Yes, that fixed that. Okay. So yeah, we have just under 6 minutes till launch. Hopefully this goes off without a hitch. It looks like it might be a little we might have some interesting lights coming through the Vandenberg fog there. So be exciting to see how that kind of turns out. I was going to look at. Oh no, I'm not. We yes, we are here and available to answer questions if you have questions. Um, we're happy to do so. Or if you want to talk about something a bit random. Oh, and there goes my camera battery. If Mr. Producer has a solution there, I will swap the battery. All right, we should be back now. Yes, there we are. Thank you, everyone, for coming to join us. If you're watching this after the fact, leave us a comment and let us know what you think of what you see. We are trying out a new stream overlay. We haven't quite got it finalized. It's definitely in a beta right now, and we are going to be trying that out on the upcoming Inspiration 4 launch. And we will be covering as much of that event as we can without showing what's going on Netflix. So any sort of feed we get from NASA or SpaceX, if we can share it, we will be here talking to all of you and sharing in the excitement of this historical launch on Wednesday. Well, hello, the Skylar mod. Skyler mod. I totally just butchered your name, and it's not even in a different language. I apologize. Don't hate me. We are about 2.5 minutes to launch. So that should be good and interesting. We will be landing on, of course, I Still Love You, which just a few months ago made its trip around the Horn through the Panama Canal from East Coast launch operations. And this will be the first landing on, of course, I Still Love You from the West Coast. Previously, which ship was on the West Coast previously? I don't recall that one. Ah, yes. Just Read the Instructions was previously on the West Coast operations and is now helping support the new drone ship, Shortfall of Gravitas, on the East Coast. Ah, yes. The old video game names. I have a few accounts like that. What was I thinking? I think the last video game I played, I had named my character OBS, but I had capitalized all of it. Unaware at the time of OBS, Open Broadcaster System, and everyone kept calling me OBS, and I finally just quit the game because I couldn't. I couldn't get people to pronounce my name right, and I didn't like it, so I just gave up. I don't think I've played a video game since. So we are 30 seconds from launch. I am going to go ahead and quiet down, and we will listen to the final countdown and the engines roar.
Four, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
What a beautiful view of Falcon 9 as it successfully lifts off from Pad 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base, carrying our stack of 51 Starlink satellites to orbit. Now, moments ago, we throttled the engines down in preparation for max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure on the engines, and that is coming up in just about 10 seconds here.
Supersonic. Max Q.
We did just pass through max Q, and in a minute we will have 3 events happening in back-to-back in rapid succession, and that's main engine cutoff.
Look
or
at
MECO,
that puppy
stage
go.
preparation, and second engine startup 1. Now, first main engine cutoff, or MECO, this is where all
Like she
9
just said, we are
M1
just
engines
past
will
max
shut off to slow the
Q,
vehicle down
coming
in
up
preparation
on
for
main engine
stage
cutoff
separation,
and engine
where the
separation.
Chill started.
where the first and second stage will separate, with the first stage making its way back down to Earth for landing, and the second stage continuing on its journey to the third event, or second engine startup 1. And this is where the MVAC engine
That's a
lights
lot
up
less
and
foggy
propels
than
the
I thought it
second
was going to
stage
be
along
once
with the
they
Starlink satellites to
got
orbit.
up there.
We're about 30 seconds from main engine
I
cutoff.
love at this
and you can see
point
that
where
beautiful plume of
the
rocket
plume
as it
starts
is
to fan
flying in the
out
sky.
and get bigger than because it's coming out and expanding. I just, it's one of my everything about a rocket launch is my favorite thing. I know, but still, one of my best favorites is that engine plume expansion.
Miko.
You can
And we
see
have main engine
the
cut off.
light from the engine.
Successful stage separation.
The light from that first stage engine
Second
cutoff.
engine start.
From main engine cutoff, you saw the successful stage separation, and the second stage engine has started up from those live views on your right there. That is
separation confirmed.
the Merlin vacuum engine, and here we are waiting for fairing separation.
Bye-bye fairings.
You can see that great view of the two fairing halves separating from the Starlink satellites.
Currently traveling a little over 7,000 kilometers an
Today's
hour
flight marks the 24th time
at an
SpaceX has
altitude of
reflown the
120
Falcon fairing
kilometers.
halves since November of 2019. And
Oh,
again,
that's
this
the
is
first
our
stage. The
second
second
flight
stage
for
is
one of the
going
fairing
at
halves and a third for
almost
the other half.
9,000
We'll be
kilometers
attempting to recover
an
the halves
hour
again
at
today
an
using
altitude
our
of
recovery vessel.
135 kilometers. Look at that thing go. Man. Let's get everybody in chat to let me know what their favorite part of a launch is. Is it the engine roar? Is it the plume expansion? Is it with the SpaceX launch? We also get re-entry and landing. That's pretty freaking awesome. Second engine start's always stressful. Max Q can be fun as it crosses the sound barrier, where you can't see it as much at night, but in the daytime, you get the vapor plume doing some interesting things, and especially where SpaceX spoils us and gives us such fantastic camera views, we get to see what's going on quite a bit better up there than a lot of other launches. So yeah, every time we cover one of the other launches, I'm just like, oh yeah. If this was a SpaceX launch, we'd be seeing this or that, but no, we don't get to see that because this is a different company or a different agency. So that very well could be, Brett. Sound waves do behave differently when the air has a lot of moisture in it. It's another thing that happens is like in the wintertime, sound gets muffled because of the snow on the ground. It just the vibrations just get absorbed. So yeah, fog makes sound behave just a little bit differently when the air is moist. We are coming up on booster entry, and second stage is just about to break 1,500 kilometers an hour. There we go. Do we know how long the wait between landing and deploy? Bit of a choppy feed coming down in it. Of course, I still love you. That means it has slowed down slower than the speed of sound. And here we come in. We must not be getting a good signal. Oh, here we come. Oh, it looks pretty centered on that as well. Just a bit choppy on the video feed. It's really hard to get any sort of signal through an engine flare. So sometimes it works just right, and we get a good signal, and most of the time we get what we just had there with a lot of video puke going on. Second engine cutoff is at nominal insertion. And we have just a few minutes to wait until we have deployment of the Starlink satellites. Sounds like about 35 minutes. That's not too long to wait. Yeah, we have our first landing in quite some time on the West Coast with Of Course I Still Love You. And I had this in front of me a minute ago. Where'd it go? This is the 9th drone ship landing for booster number 1049, B1049. So it has now landed safely 9 times, which means if it makes it back to back to port safely, we will likely see this booster fly a 10th time. We're getting a few of these SpaceX boosters that are getting right around that 10 mark. And that is just fantastic. How far do you guys think SpaceX will be able to push this reuse? Are they gonna push it to 20 reuses or 10? They'll probably do some serious refurbishment every so many. I know originally they thought they would do about 10, but I think they've decided, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've decided that they can get a few more uses before a serious refurbishment. But they will still be able to keep going even after that. So it's just fantastic to see rockets being reused. I just, growing up in the shuttle era, I did not understand why they threw so much away. Granted, we were reusing all the most expensive bits, but that big giant orange tank was not cheap. I mean, it's a little bit modified and a little bit more expensive for SLS, but man, it wasn't really all that much cheaper back in the 80s and 90s doing shuttle launches. And it just got thrown away every single time. I never understood it, and it just drove me bonkers. So I am so glad to see that we have an industry leader in reuse, and we have a lot of other rocket launch providers heading in the direction of at least some sort of reusability. Coming up, Rocket Lab will be relaunching a booster, so it will be their first relaunch of a booster. They've recovered two, I believe, from the ocean, and will be relaunching one of those coming up here pretty soon. And then, a lot of other companies are working on the whole reusability thing in one aspect or another. So I think that is quite fantastic that we are seeing that. We live in a very, very interesting time in the space industry. It's almost like the Saturn era 2.0. With what's going on in the space industry right now, we're seeing so many things getting developed. And of course, back in the Saturn era, it was all new. Like, we were figuring out how to do any of it. And today we've got hundreds of space companies. We've got hundreds and hundreds of different rockets. We've got companies that don't do anything but build satellites. We got companies that build satellite parts. We've got so many different things going on. We got companies out there that don't do anything but sit and track what's going on up in space. So there's so many things going on that were not a part of the story 50, 60 years ago. So it's fantastic to see so many things going on. And we are coming up any moment now on deploy, so we will see what's going on there. Again, if you have any questions you'd like us to try to answer, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them. It sounds like we might be about another 30 minutes for deploy, but they've got their marker saying that we've passed the deploy spot. So we'll wait and see if we hear a clarification from them. Oh, we have deployed, and it looks like deploy location is somewhere where we did not get signal down to ground from the rocket. So I imagine when the second stage goes around the horn and comes back into communication range, they will download some footage and maybe do a replay at that point. I don't know if we want to stick around for that or not. What's the consensus from the control room? Fair enough. So yeah, we are going to start wrapping it up here. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer before we go, we're happy to give that a go. We have a lot of fantastic things we do here on Total Space. We've got Deep Dive with Miko. We've got Becoming Multiplanetary with Rich LB. We have the Space Update with Ryan. And then we have me doing a lot of our live launches. And I also do a lot of our background editing and a little bit of our script writing and adjustments, and kind of help us keep going forward on pushing out content for all of you. So, it's we've got a lot going on here on the channel. We also have a great support staff that jump in and help us out. We've got a couple of the guys in the back channel who have helped us build this overlay that we're testing out here today. Hopefully we've found a couple of things that we want to get adjusted before we go live with the Inspiration 4 festivities. We will be bringing as much of that to you live as we can, given that we are human and can't stream 24 hours a day, and we don't know what sort of feeds we will be getting from SpaceX or NASA. Of course, there will be quite a bit going on over on Netflix, but we can't share that with you here. And if you haven't seen the episodes that they have posted so far on Netflix, it is definitely worth the watch. But back to the channel. We have a lot going on here. We have some interesting projects coming down the pipeline, as always. We have news, we have futurism, we have deep dives into what's going on with specific things. In fact, if we can throw a link in chat, the Starlink V1.5 video that Miko just released earlier today, we can throw that up for everybody. We have a lot going on. Yeah, we can certainly stick around till then. It sounds like in about 6 minutes we will get confirmation of the deploy from SpaceX. Don't know whether there will be footage with that or not, but they will be able to give us a confirmation at that point. So, yeah, they're waiting to get to the Argentina ground station and reconnect with that. So as soon as they come into range for that, we will get confirmation of deploy. And hopefully that was a successful deploy. I've got Starlink up on my roof, and I have been I've been very pleased not only with the service itself. The bandwidth is quite nice where I'm at, but also the customer service. I've had to call in a couple of times to get questions answered, or deal with a few different things. Most of it not directly related to the internet service itself, but equipment orders and subscription issues and things like that, billing things that needed to be adjusted. And they have just bent over backwards to make sure that I'm happy and that I stay with them, even though the whole thing is just in better than beta still. So I can't be happier with what I'm getting for my money, and I think we will be probably getting one or two of these dishes for the channel once once we start roaming around, which could be happening fairly soon if COVID things calm down well enough for us to feel comfortable going out and about. So that should be interesting, especially once they release the McDishy 2.0, which is supposed to be quite a bit smaller than the current Dishy. So yes, flatter as well. Even though the top of the current dish is very flat. So if you like what we have going on here, and would like to support us in one way or another, you can go over to totalspace.net and rummage around over there, and there will be links to our Patreon page, as well as hopefully we have some other options coming soon in order to help us out and continue to bring you as much content as we can possibly cram into our lives. We all have lives outside of YouTube, but we all do our best to bring things to you. Sounds like the producer is deaf and I'm mumbling. So yes, it is definitely .net. It is getting, for me it is about 4.5 hours past my bedtime, and for the production team behind the scenes, it is extremely, yeah, it's time to start cooking breakfast. So we are definitely spread out around the globe. So, but we enjoy being able to bring you guys content, and we would love to be continuing to do so and bringing you as much as we possibly can. We're always trying to find ways to improve and get content to you faster, adjusting our workflows and who's doing what in order to make sure that we're not only getting it to you faster, but that it looks and sounds as good as it possibly can for all of you viewers out there. So thank you so much for watching. Even we've had a decent sized audience here, and it looks like most of you have clicked that like button. So we appreciate even those little bits of support. They make a big difference in how things work behind the scenes with YouTube, and those likes also make us feel good about what we're doing. So we appreciate it a great deal. Thank you very much, everyone who participated in the mouse clicky things. They've got signal back. We have a successful deploy. Fantastic. So it will take a couple of months for all those satellites to spread out along their orbital path and get into position before they will start improving the quality of internet we get. So we are super glad to hear that we have a successful deploy. It's always nice when a company is successful. Of course, we are used to seeing a high success rate with SpaceX, but nonetheless, we are excited to have that. We will take a couple more comments in chat before we wrap up the stream here. Thank you, Brett. It's great that you were able to join in with us. We of course love a lot of people over at the Y family. A lot of our people on the back side also help over there at Y. So we're glad you came to join us. And you have a great night. And it looks like that is our last question. And we have other shows on the channel. We also have a new channel that we've recently launched called Coffee Club. There's a link in this description for that. We don't have a lot of content there yet, and it is going to be more of a live format. But there are some episodes there that will clue you into what that is about. Also, Staticfiregal, who has done quite a bit of the content on our channel, has started her own channel. We're not sure how much she's going to continue to do here, but we support her in her decision to start her own thing. And so we have given a link to Staticfiregal's channel down there below as well. Please go check it out and let her know that we sent you over there and to say hello. Newport Beach had clear skies. Thanks for letting us know, Gary. It's always good to hear from someone else on the ground. Myself, I am in Utah, and the production team is in the United Kingdom tonight. But that can move around a little bit. Sometimes we switch places and different people are on screen and things. So we've got an international team here at Total Space. So we come from all over the place. Okay, it sounds like the production team is ready to cut us off. So we are going to wave goodbye to all of you. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for any of the buttons that you chose to click on. And let's go ahead and roll that outro tape.